Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views Show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce. And today's guest with me, I have Chase Lemons from the city of Reidsville. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Diane. It's good to be here with you this morning.
I'm so excited for you to be here. And I'm going to lead with when I found out that they were restructuring the department and then adding a position, I was stoked because I was like, okay, because I was directly told this will be somebody who will work with the chamber a lot, hand in hand. And I knew it would take you a while to get the lay of the land. But then when I found out who it was, and I was like, Chase, duh. Because A, we knew each other. B, we'd already worked together on things. And C, I mean, you're Debbie's son-in-law. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. This is exactly the type of position that I was hoping to find myself in at some point, for sure. I feel like with the business development aspect of it, coming back local, I worked out of town for a while, getting back closer to my roots, closer to home, and being able to do something that I can see the impact. It's been great. And being surrounded by great people.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard me tell that story, but that's how I came to the chamber. July will be 15 years. My oldest child was 12 weeks old.
Okay.
And I was commuting to Martinsville because my first big girl job out of college, I worked in Martinsville for 7 years. 1 year project grant that turned into a large grant. And we were, I got 6 weeks maternity leave, and I was working for a boss who was a workaholic and didn't have a family and I just saw that going not in a great direction. And so I needed to make a change, and it's really funny. It's a very chamber story. I had put my resume out because I'm from Eden, as you are.
Right.
And we've grown up in Rockingham County and been here. And so I wanted to go work for Miller Coors. I wanted to be like a work site or someone because I grew up in the backyard and I had a really heavy work site wellness resume as a public health educator because that's what my degree was in. So I wanted to go work for an industry and be their on-site person because I had done it with the firefighters at the city of Martinsville. I had done it with Bassett Furniture and Stanley Furniture. And so it was a really cool gig. And so I had this real heavy worksite wellness resume, and Staff Masters was in Mayodan and had joined, or actually in Madison first, had joined the Reidsville Chamber to get more business because Reidsville was starting to hop.
Yep.
And they were looking for staffing industries. And they came across the idea that the Reidsville Chamber was looking for a president. She went home, started Googling, found me on Indeed. And I got this phone call from Sharon Shirashilla from Staff Masters. And I was like, is this spam? Like, what is this? And anyways, fast forward. But from the time I went back to work when she was 6 weeks old to the time she was 12 weeks old, in that 6 weeks, I made the change and took the job. And they took a chance on a 29-year-old young, energetic person who had an idea about things that could change in the chamber. And so fast forward to here we are, and I love seeing when we're making changes and we're bringing on young people and we're bringing on ideas. So when Summer took her time, and I'm so thankful she did, figuring out, we had some big losses. We had lost our economic development director, and then when we lost Miss Judy, it was just a transition time for the city. And Summer had to think long and hard about what the future was going to look like and what our current infrastructure was. And when she came up with the idea to put marketing and economic development together and then have her leads and create this position, you were the perfect person for it. And I'm so excited about it. So
it's been great.
Tell us about what you've been doing, because gosh, it's been, how long has it been now?
It's been since October.
Yeah. So it's like we're coming up on, it's like a solid 6 months. And
it's getting there. And I mean, a lot of the beginning was just learning the lay of the land.
Still going to be learning.
And I think it's very similar to what you're speaking to of how it was when you stepped in.
Yep.
Things are beginning to hop again. And things are beginning to change again.
Yep.
And you can definitely feel this breath of fresh air coming through Reidsville at this point.
Yeah, and you came at like the perfect time when there's all these, they tore down the trees, they redid the landscape, and then suddenly people are doing exactly what Summer wanted, buying buildings and turning them around.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And a lot of that is what I'm focused on. And like you said, a lot of that starts with Summer's leadership. She's done really good brainstorming how to rebuild these departments here. into something that benefits the citizenship.
Her eye for her ears, her eyes, her mouth, all the things, all her senses, and her keen ability to see things like the UDO, which is coming
Yep.
up, and all the things that are
Yep.
happening. So she came in with a fresh perspective, which I think is really needed. You know, there was a time where Reidsville was really against people from the outside coming in to Reidsville, but outside can be as much as across the river, because I was that person.
Yeah, for sure.
You're
get
that
it.
person,
I get it.
and you know. But even as far as Summer coming from Franklin, like, and before her time, the previous city manager coming from a different place, from a small town in North Carolina, it's really been eye opening, because they see the beauty.
Yeah.
And they see the potential, and then they look back and see the history and how rich it is, but where we may have lacked the ability to update things. And so she's just going through and updating everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, right now, that's where a lot of the focus is. You know, Reidsville does have where they've really put in the foundation here with the new streetscapes. And I mean, we have historic buildings with good bones.
Absolutely.
And they're prime for young entrepreneurs starting or retirees wanting to move here and relocate their businesses here. And we've seen both in the past 6 months. But yeah, I think it was a great time for me to come back home and jump in back in Rockingham County.
I think so too.
But and with my position, it's very unique, and that's what drew me to it. I had worked in economic development with the City of Eden. A lot of my work there was focused on grants, which led me to A&T State University in Greensboro, where I was a grant manager there for the School of Ag. So cooperative extension, environmental sciences, all of that. I saw this position open. I wasn't necessarily looking for anything. I knew I wanted to come closer to home if it ever revealed itself as an option. But when I saw the way that this position was set up, I felt like it fit me very well. It's working in economic development in different places. I've noticed there's a big gap in between your normal citizen wanting to start a business and all the hoops they have to jump through to get to that point. And this position is created to help alleviate that pressure on somebody. We want to make this a place where it's easy for you to come in and start a business. And that's why I'm here at this point, is the normal person doesn't understand a lot of the planning processes. I didn't either until I got into this, and
It's
permitting
hard.
and inspections and what you have to do with your business licenses and your LLCs and all of these things. My job primarily, if I could really dig it into one small piece, is to be able to bring someone in that wants to start a business and put all the right people at the table for them.
Literally hold their hand.
Walk them through the process. Yep. So they don't have to call inspections and the planners and the county. I can help walk them through that. Hey, I've got a client here that is looking to open this kind of business. This is what they're looking to do, and put them in contact with that person so they're not going in blind.
Yep.
And that really drew me to this position.
Yeah, and it's something that I've been doing for a long time, because we naturally, and so now so much easier to be able to pass them off to you and let you take the lead and run them through, because it's so different, right? Like your point of, from economic development, there's a large gap between what you're talking about and the piece of bringing in and recruiting these large industries, where we almost bend over backwards, like, because they are bringing in a number of jobs and they are bringing in a tax base. But at the same time, our tax base has just as much been differentiated on the large number of small businesses that we have, because they're the people in this community, and they're the people who are our neighbors, and they're the people who are baking our muffins, who are planning our parties, who are dry cleaning our stuff, who are creating our logos and putting our t-shirts together. It's crazy.
For sure.
How growing up, we weren't learning those things, but now in the jobs that we do, it's like, oh my gosh, it's stuff that kids need to know.
For sure. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, like the industries are vital.
So vital.
And that's a part of my position too, is working with recruiting your large scale industrial and things of that nature, and helping with site visits or incentives, walking them through state incentives and things like that. But your small businesses are your charm. They are the backbone of your town.
So it makes us unique.
It does. I mean, and that is the character of your town. And that's what just really draws me to this position, is helping bring people in. We have people that want to start businesses. There's just a lot of obstacles in their way, and helping them walk through those obstacles. One thing I've been working on is, looking at downtown, especially in our MSD district, and trying to find buildings that are vacant and reaching out to these property owners to see if, hey, are you looking at potentially maybe leasing this building? I'd love to put somebody in there. I've got 4 or 5 clients looking for spaces, from small, 700-800 square feet retail spaces all the way up to several thousand square feet. I have people calling pretty constantly. So right now, one of the biggest issues is finding space for them. So I've been working on creating a downtown inventory of available buildings, reaching out to property owners and seeing where they're at, seeing if we can incentivize them to maybe want to open these buildings up for lease or for sale, either way. But finding spaces right now is one of the big things that I've been focused on, because we do have good buildings here. Getting them available is going to be a big thing.
And it's so hard to educate the general community, to market that potential, to make people understand, because people are like, oh, Reidsville doesn't want businesses. That's why there's empty buildings downtown, where it's so much, it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, it's not the case.
And having this kind of opportunity for us to speak frankly about, there are building owners who don't care to lease their space, or who aren't interested, don't have the time, don't want to fool with the money for the upkeep, don't want to be a landlord. And so having people understand that, because one of the biggest things I think is peer pressure. Like, I know that that's one of the avenues we've talked about, is if we can have one building owner put pressure on the next building owner, hey, this is affecting our community. Let's do something with this.
Right.
That's really where things are.
I agree. And I think in the grand scheme of things, a lot of people that live in Reidsville or have businesses in Reidsville, all the stakeholders want the same things. We want to see it grow. We want it to be a place where we can go on a Friday night and get dinner, or somewhere to take our kids to do something, or not have to go to Danville or Greensboro to go buy clothes or shop. This is what we all want. And I feel like getting everybody on the same page is what we've really been trying to do.
Yeah, and I think we're a lot closer than we were.
I believe so, because I think the goal is the same all the way around.
How can it really not be? People want to see people living downtown. They want to see people walking around. We have a housing deficit, period, in the city and in the county. And so, our real estate agents, like there's folks working on that stuff. And so, we're trying to work with developers, trying to work with the city, trying to pull investors and developers and people all together so that we can get some of this stuff figured out. And I think for me, from a small business perspective, because again, that's a huge part of our membership. Now, monetarily and numbers wise, obviously the industry, like you said, are vital. And a lot of our industries are our chamber champions.
Oh, it's the backbone.
And the people who, and they are the backbone of our organization. But part of our membership is also small business. And so to help them grow, to help them expand, to help them build a new building, or whatever it is that they're trying to do, that is our goal. And I tell people, whatever their bottom line is our bottom line.
Right.
So we're trying to help them meet that. So having an extra full 40-hour a week person is so helpful to me, and having somebody else on the scene. And I think we make a great team. One of the greatest things that Reidsville did several years ago was the Team Reidsville Brandon.
I love it.
Me too.
And I think it fits us. And it fits,
does.
like you were speaking on the real estate agents and developers and things. They're a part of this team.
They are.
And we have very good professionals surrounding us.
Yeah.
And we're at a time where Team Reidsville is becoming a real thing. You have a lot of people coming together with the same goals.
For all kinds of different
very
things.
Capable people.
Yep. Very capable, very intelligent. And, I remember thinking when they first rolled it out, the idea came out of football capital, winning state championships, something we all shared in common. But at the end of the day, like, the pitch was, we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team. And when Reidsville High School wins a state championship, we win. And when we land a large industry that can employ people, we all win. When our school system is doing something like offering a CTE high school for us to develop and create more trade opportunities for our students, we're all winning. We're all on the same team. We all have, like you said, same goal.
Yep.
And so, in our downtown and our businesses out on Freeway and out on Turner and out, there's all these great little pockets of things that are happening. So I think at the end of the day, if the other thing that I would encourage people to do, you hear the same, well, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear about it. And I have reached, I think, my point where I realize that people have to want to know about it. They have to want to crawl out from under the rock. They have to want to be engaged. They have to want to look online. They have to look in the paper. They have to look at their surroundings. Get off the phone when you're, and I'm that generation too. Like, I'm the world's worst for, but when you walk into the post office, when you walk into the grocery store, and there are pinup boards and bulletin boards, and there are, Girl Scouts or nonprofits or the Salvation Army standing outside that door, engage.
Right.
Engage. Stop disengaging, but engage with me, engage with you, engage with the city, engage with the chamber, engage with the community people, your neighbor.
Sure.
I would just say, because the more you can engage, the more you'll be educated and the more you can be a part. And that's something you've got 4, I've got 3. I'm trying to teach my children how important it is to look up, look out, give of your time, give of yourself, because it makes for a better community. And people say to me all the time, why do you do that? And I'm like, well, which part? And they're like, all of it. And I'm like, do you mean softball director at Wentworth? Do you mean coach? Do you mean team mom of our travel team? Do you mean PTO president of the middle school? Which part? Well, all of it. And I'm like, because it matters.
Yeah, it matters.
Because it matters to the kids, because it matters to the school, because it matters to the community, it matters to me. I want to give as much. And I have learned in my mid-40s, I have learned to delegate more than to try to do it all myself. But it matters. And so I think that your first 6 months have been spent so well. You don't know how proud I was or how much I wanted to jump out of my seat at the RDC board meeting. And when you pulled out your pretty inventory with pictures of the buildings and the addresses and all the stuff, and I was like, yes, we are getting somewhere. And not that it hasn't been done before, not that it didn't look different before, but it's been a while. And it was time for an updated, because the trees are gone, the streetscape is done.
Yep.
We can actually physically see the building.
Well, I feel like now's the time to start the work.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm trying to dial in on. And just making it as easy on people as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, putting together a list of buildings so they don't have to hunt for all these different buildings or scounge through several different, realty websites. They call and I have a list.
That's right.
And I can email you a list.
Yeah.
And you tell me what you're interested in, and we can dig in deeper.
That's
I
right.
can tell you who lists them and how many square footage it is. And I mean, all that kind of stuff. It's just making it a one-stop shop. If you want to open a business, you call our office. I mean, and it's getting to where we're trying to make it that simple.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be hoops and hurdles to jump through, but that's the goal. The goal is to make it to where you have an idea, no matter how crazy you might think the idea is. Call us and we'll walk through it with you.
Speaking of hunting, and speaking of you being part of the marketing and economic development team, and speaking of small businesses and events and people walking in off the street for events to ask about opening a business, it's event season time.
It is.
We are getting ready to kick off. And I know that is one of the things that you want to talk about. So tell us about some of the stuff coming up.
We're getting there. One of the big things right now we're working on behind the scenes a little bit is revamping the farmers market. We're really trying to get the farmers market bigger and better than ever. Where none of it's set in stone yet. We're still exploring maybe doing some evenings. That's something I've really tried to push, is to doing some evening nights.
Me too.
Yep. But revamping the farmers market is going to be a big thing. We also have a lot of concert series for the summer this year. I know right now, I believe we have 4 booked, starting in May, going through September. They're going to be great.
Yep, and then the festival in October. It's going to be exciting.
And that's going to be, we're not a lot of info to put out yet, but we're looking at putting a new face on that.
Yeah.
So we're really looking at revamping the fall festival and making it something where the locals love it, the people that work here love it, And then we really want to bring in people out of town.
Absolutely.
Just do something different.
Something different.
We're looking at doing something different this year.
I like it. Well, I know we've got Easter egg hunt coming up.
We do. We have an Easter egg hunt at the Penthouse. That's going to be put on by Parks and Rec. And that is April 19th. So that's open for all children 10 and under.
Awesome.
Yep. And they're going to do it like staggered times for age groups and things like that.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So I'm sure that'll be fun. And I
That
mean,
will
what
be
better
fun.
place than the Penthouse, right?
I know. I just love the history there, and just, I don't know. It's almost like sacred ground.
It is, and I've been amazed how much of a positive asset it is since I've started here. Like I've been to events at the Penthouse, but starting to work here and helping with booking events and seeing all the wedding tours and things take place.
I was a bridesmaid in a wedding there,
Yep.
and it was like, oh, this is great, and then never thought about it
remember
again.
catering events back there years ago when I was probably 18 or 19.
Yeah, and then working here, and it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different, and Judy had such a vision, and being able to have the carriage house, like
it's a game changer.
It's a game changer, and it's such a legacy. She left so many legacies, but Market Square, Team Reidsville, and then the carriage house. I can't tell people, enough how amazing it is. So.
It is, and the carriage house is going to be a big thing for us.
It is.
We're just getting started with utilizing that.
We have a lot of great event spaces. One of my favorite is having Bob and Myra and having the Reidsville Event Center downtown. We have the Country Club. We have so many great event spaces, and so I think it's taken all this time to really get back to, a lot of the weddings are still happening, and the kids' dances and things are still happening, but you're finally starting to see. So maybe I've had a lot of questions about casino night, and we might have a plan for something fun and different related to that later in the year. So I think there's some cool things happening.
A lot of very unique things.
Yes,
and I love that. I know La Boca Loca is
La
Boca Loca is looking at doing a salsa night.
They are.
Like every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And with lessons.
Yes.
So I might have to get the dancing shoes on or something.
I know. And we had Jody Lester on previously, and we started talking about they haven't done shag lessons in a while. And I was like, I have some ideas. So I just, I know it's going to look like a very different year for the city. It's going to look like a very different year for the chamber. And I know we have some things together that we are partnering on that are going to be out there for folks. So, and again, not a lot of information to release. We have a tentative date on the calendar, but there's another, continuing our education and our Why Reidsville series. There's another piece that we're doing that's going to be a public forum that I want people to come out and engage in. So I just keep encouraging people, watch the city council, get on Rockingham Update, watch his stuff, watch where he's covering your meetings, and watch, or come to, but watch these shows, listen with your headphones, whatever it is that, you got to do to get engaged, but come out to these events, like get on Facebook, follow the social media. I mean, there's so many people right now. It's like you said, we're all on the same team, and everybody's starting to showcase local things and local businesses and local food. And it's just kind of shaping into, it's like,
something special.
Something's
going on.
And it's simmering, and I just think we're on the brink of some really big stuff happening.
I think so too, and it's never been easier for the community to get involved.
Yes.
Like right now is prime time, especially with the social media, and people do have a huge impact on local government. The avenues are there.
The commissions that are open right now. We've
there's
had
commission
a lot
spots
of
that are open.
turnover. Yeah.
There's commission spots that are open with the appearance and historical preservation. With city council meetings, your council members are very accessible. Call them. That's what they want.
Yep. They want to talk to people. They want to hear from you.
All the council meetings we're at, there's always time for open comment and public comment. That's what it's there for. We from our department, all the way to the top and all the way down, all of the City of Reidsville workers and employees are always open to conversation. We want to know what the community is looking for.
Yep.
That guides us. That's what we're always searching for.
Yep, I agree. I know that one of the things that people really struggle with is, like you said, how to open, run, do all the things about opening a business. And we've talked a lot about a guide and talked a lot about an easy way for them to access. Where are we at with
That is in the
sort of thing.
process.
Yeah.
That is in the process. Right now, I'm working with Lanice Lane with Small Town Soul. We're working on finishing up the business guide, and we want it to be a document that is very easy to just grab and walk you through step by step of everything you need to do, from your permits to talking with the county. And I think it's a good opportunity too. We're going to loop in Randy Hunt, Small Business Center.
Absolutely.
Can't say enough good about Randy.
Yeah. Randy does a lot of great stuff.
He does, and a lot of, especially with setting up LLCs and helping them get their budgets right and things like that.
Yeah.
We're going to use Randy a lot as a resource. He's one of the best around.
Shameless plug. Randy is here every fourth Wednesday from 2 to 4 for any business that wants to come and work with him, meet with him, and talk about it. And it is a free resource through the state, through the community college that people can use. So,
it's such a great program.
Yeah, there's so many resources out there for people.
Yep.
My own child, she right now as an 8th grader is set on one of 2 paths, but one of them is being a cosmetologist. She loves everything to do with all kinds of people and all kinds of hair and all kinds of makeup and all the things. And there is a salon owner that fits our timeline of when she would be done, that wants to kind of be done and retire, maybe sell her salon. So we've kind of been on this path of, and I've told my kids, I'm all about the trades. I came from that generation. When I was coming through Moorhead, it was 4-year school, 4-year school, 4-year school. Like there were no other options. And we've got to get away from that.
The trades are huge.
And the trades are huge. And I have said to her, I don't care. I've said to all 3 of my kids, I don't care what trade you are interested in. You're going to take at least some business classes, potentially get a business degree, because you're always going to end up in business for yourself. Yeah. So even as a cosmetologist, if you're booth rent or if you're commission, you're still in business for yourself. You're still,
for sure,
you're still marketing yourself. You're still putting your stuff on social media. You're still having to pay your taxes. You're still having to do all those things. And so I said to her, this is an option. And so as a parent, but also wearing my chamber hat, as I've started to dig through what options are out there with the school, I have those 2 pieces aligned. And that's what I've said to her. I'm like, opening a business or buying or purchasing a business in Reidsville, in Rockingham County, you still have to know and do all of these things. So it's opened my eyes to, from a young person's perspective, how they see things.
Right.
And so being able to talk to my 14-year-old next week, my gosh, about what that looks like. And, she's starting to come back to me with questions about, Mom, why do you do this? Or why did I see that? Or what happened with this? Or, gosh, it looks like you're in charge of that because you're talking about this and this and this. And I'm like, well, this is how things work in the community. Yeah. And so it's kind of like the Junior Achievement Program with the neighborhood, right? They start with the financial literacy and with the neighborhood and with the kid. And then my middle kid, Lord, that child's made $1,000 selling bracelets. Like she makes little beaded bracelets and so when we go to travel softball tournaments, she's carrying her little 4-foot table and her cash bag and her bracelets and inventory.
I've got 2 little girls who's done that too.
Yeah. And I'm like, and so she pops up her little table and she's selling bracelets. And she's like, hey, Mom, can you call Reed? I need a website. Like, and I'm like, what?
But getting them in that mindset is so valuable.
It's so valuable.
And, even if they don't stick with that entrepreneurship path, they can still carry that into so many different careers. Because, that's how I was introduced to Reidsville. Straight out of high school, I went to barber school in Winston-Salem and rented a booth a couple doors down at Red Robin's Barbershop. Yeah. And the lessons that I still carry today from that time really enabled me to be able to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
I mean, learning how to manage money, especially when you're getting paid, in cash and having to figure out for good days or bad days. Right. So a lot of those things, I'm always going to recommend learning a trade, even if it's, even if you don't do it forever. The lessons that you learn from a trade will stick with you no matter what. Oh, yeah.
And I told her, I was like, you don't want to be learning hard lessons. Let's learn the things we need to know up front about, so. And, I've always wondered what I'll do when previous guests said this too. They were like, you're always thinking, you're always growing, you're always changing. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And I was like, I mean, I don't either. I mean, I think at some point I might be her partner in that. I might be purchasing a salon. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what will happen, but it's really cool to see things evolving in our
It
community.
is. And with my position, that's what makes it so cool, is I get to go along on this journey with people.
Yep, and it's unique, and every day's different. And
Every day's
challenging.
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
I
get
love
bored.
that part too.
Never get bored.
Yeah, me neither. So, and I love a good challenge, and that's when I think things are like rise to the top.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
For sure.
Well, we are out of time. Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to cover? Any events, any information, any contact information, anything you want to throw out there that we didn't?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we covered all the events and kind of what I'm working on right now. But like I said, I'm always open for conversation. I'm located at City Hall. And yeah, Chase Lemons, C Lemons at reidsvillenc.gov, or just shoot me a call.
Yeah.
But I'm always here to have a conversation.
Well, I appreciate you, and I thank you for taking the time and for people to be able to put name and face, with what's happening. So I think it's awesome.
Thanks, Diane.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that is it for today. And as always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street or at reidsvillechamber.org or on all of our social media channels. So thanks and stay tuned. We'll see you soon.